Are you looking for an athletic scholarship? You're in the right place. This is the Recruit Me Athletic Scholarship Podcast, the longest-running podcast on recruiting and athletic scholarships. We're here to help your family navigate the recruiting road all the way to an athletic scholarship. He's a recruiting expert and a dad of 2 college athletes. He has a wealth of experience to share. Here's Recruit Me CEO, Brent Hanks.
Welcome to episode 515 of the Athletic Scholarship Podcast. The Athletic Scholarship Podcast is the world's longest-running weekly athletic recruiting education podcast and was started by John Fugler, the founder of Recruit Me. John's first episode was published on October 14th in 2015. He had started helping potential student athletes and their parents back in 2002. That's when the Recruit Me philosophy and the guided 7 steps were developed and started to help families. Mr. Fugler put together not only these 7 steps, but many other helpful resources and tools that eventually make up the Recruit Me 3.0 athletic scholarship system. Here are the 7 steps to an athletic scholarship. Step number 1, select the right schools to contact. Step number 2, write a great introductory email. Step number 3, create your one-sheet player profile. Step number 4, build your questionnaire. Step number 5, track your communications. Step number 6, send 1-page or 1-paragraph updates. And step number 7, make your school choice wisely. You can get your own personal copy of the Recruit Me 3.0 Athletic Scholarship System on the recruit-me.com website. Click on the Get Access button to purchase the Recruit Me 3.0 system for only $39. You will get a 200-plus page PDF file that walks you through each of the steps. Plus, you will get much more to not only save you money, but to save you time and anxiety on your recruiting journey. The Recruit Me 3.0 system manual starts off with 10 myths about athletic scholarships. Here are the Recruit Me 10 myths that you are introduced to. Myth number 1, if my child is good enough, the college coaches will find him or her. Myth number 2, if I'm talented, the coach can get me into the school despite poor grades. Myth number 3, I can trust everything that coaches say and promise during the recruiting process. Myth number 4, I can wait until my senior year to look for athletic scholarships. Myth number 5, most athletic scholarships are full rides. Myth number 6, my high school coach or guidance counselor will get me a scholarship. Myth number 7, I have to be the best player on my team to get any athletic financial aid. Myth number 8, schools only give scholarships for the money sports, like football and basketball. Myth number 9, coaches resent being contacted by prospective athletes. And myth number 10, I already received a letter from a coach, so I'm being recruited. The Recruit Me 3.0 system manual gives you all 10 myths, along with the truth about each myth. Mr. Fugler listed these 10 myths way back in the early 2000s. John gave listeners myth information in his episode number 3, back in November of 2015, and then in episode 39 in April of 2017. That episode gives you more myth information. John hits on recruiting fallacies in episodes 165 and 166 in October of 2019. I purchased Recruit Me from John in 2020, and I have hit on the myths of recruiting many times since then. Episodes 279 through 290 were released in late 2021 and early 2022. Episode 401, 475 through 480 also hit on the myths about recruiting. Go to the recruit-me.com website, and you can get access to these past episodes. Last week, I listened to another recruiting resource podcast that rekindled some thoughts about the myths about recruiting, and it shows that Mr. Fugler's helpful recruiting thoughts, advice, and tips, and my own philosophy are still relevant today, relevant here in 2026. On June 12th, the Baseball Recruiting Confidential podcast, episode 115, named Common Recruiting Myths with University of Utah Recruiting Coordinator Mike Brown. The first part of this episode of the Baseball Recruiting Confidential gives you Coach Brown's background in baseball. And then him and the podcast host, Justin Musil, get into thoughts on the evolving recruiting landscape with NIL, the transfer portal, and scholarship and roster limits. Then they get into some common recruiting myths. So what really caught my attention was that the myths were Recruit Me's myths. Myths in today's recruiting world are the same as what Recruit Me has been saying since 2002. These myths in this episode come from a current college baseball recruiting coordinator and a current recruiting educator. The interview led off with this myth. If I'm good enough, coaches will find me. RecruitMe's wording from, again, the early 2000s is myth number 1. If my child is good enough, the college coaches will find him or her. 20 years later, this, according to 2 current coaches in the college recruiting, is that myth number 1 is basically myth number 1 from RecruitMe. I guess John and I know a little about recruiting, and basics are still consistent. The interview said, quote, I have found this as a major myth in the process because of the simple common sense pieces around it, unquote. They expand on this myth number 1 by saying that there are thousands and thousands of players to look through, and so it is really difficult for coaches to know everybody from every area of the country. Thus, RecruitMe's main motto for a potential student athlete is to recruit colleges to recruit you. If you have listened to the past The Athletic Scholarship Podcast episodes, you have heard me say that there is no way Northwestern University in the Chicago area finds Parker Hanks, my oldest son, from Southwest Missouri. Parker recruited Northwestern and about 10 to 15 other colleges at all levels to recruit him. Colleges even with big budgets and ones that are in elite conferences can't keep up with all of the potential student athletes. If they can't, then how do you think non-Power 4 conference programs in any sport can find you? Programs also in the NCAA Division II, Division III, and NAIA or junior college levels don't have the money or the staff to find everyone they need. So help them find you. Now, the coaches in the interview say that they cannot just rely on players to contact them, and that college coaches have connections and avenues to find players that can play at their level. Just the same, the player needs to develop and work through their connections to help contact college coaches. Justin and Coach Brown also get into that recruits need to have a strategy. Again, that is where RecruitMe comes in. They point out that you, the potential student athlete, doesn't need to be on a big travel team or on the most expensive circuit of play in your sport. You can do that, but you yourself can find your level of play in college by reaching out to college coaches to introduce yourself to them and by reaching out to coaches that are interesting to you. Coach Brown goes on to say that he responds better to a kid's email or a coach that is reaching out. Just an email showing interest, an email speaking on a potential student athlete's character, competitiveness, and makeup, plus a short video helps him to get interested or not. This recruiting coordinator of a D1 baseball program even said that he has responded on the potential student athlete's second, third, or even fourth email or contact. The potential student athlete's persistence can get his attention even as much as his accolades or his stats. Again, this interview's first myth was brought out as if I'm good enough, then coaches will find me. The guys on this podcast debunk that myth and say that that might happen to a super small amount of athletes. And they also point out why not contact college coaches rather than take a risk or waste a lot of time waiting on college coaches. They promoted doing basics like RecruitMe promotes in the RecruitMe 3.0 athletic scholarship system. Have a plan, research colleges, make a list, create an introductory email, a player profile, videos, and follow up with coaches that you want to invite to contact you back or you want to invite them to come and see you play. The podcast has myth number 2, and it is I need to commit early. Coach Brown said, especially in this climate, I think a lot of schools that are committing young players that there is a little bit of frivolousness to that approach because there is just not enough room, meaning room on many college rosters. Coach Brown said that they prepare for the next year by A, getting older guys to come back, B, by looking at guys that have significant college experience, and then C, then they add high schoolers to fill some spots. Coach Brown says that, quote, we didn't want to have to call a kid that's been with us for a couple years, committed early, and then we say that they've got to go somewhere else because we can get an older player, unquote. He is nicely saying that you don't have to commit early and that high schoolers are being recruited later than in the past. RecruitMe promotes you, the potential student athlete, to do a lot of research on colleges that you are considering. Do roster audits to see how a team's roster is put together. You can normally see if the team's players come from other four-year colleges, junior colleges, or high schools. Both of my sons committed right before their senior year of high school. and their recruiting was done before the transfer portal craze hit. So now committing may be pushed to even a high schooler's senior year. Their third myth on this broadcast was, I need to attend every camp and showcase there is. Coach Brown sometimes feels that players are overexposed or may lose their passion to play and perform. He feels a potential student athlete with a plan can smartly go to camps and showcases with a good strategic plan. Going to a specific school's camp or showcase that is on your research college school list is a good plan. Both of my sons benefited from going to planned out camps and showcases. Parker attended Arkansas, Missouri State, Kansas, and Iowa that had school-specific camps, and then a K-State and a Close to Chicago showcase where he got attention, looks, and offers from most of those colleges. Northwestern visited the Close to Chicago showcase to watch him pitch after Parker invited them to that showcase. Sutton attended 3 showcases and got 3 offers, and his targeted list worked out. Coach Brown says to evaluate your skills and then also get an evaluation of your skill level. Go to camps that fit your skill level. If you are an NAIA level or a Division II type of player, then going to an UCLA type of camp or a Georgia camp may end up just being for fun, not exposure to those coaches. Coach Brown went on to communicate that they can watch a kid throw and tell that it will be hard for that kid to play in the Big 12 or other levels. He also said the great thing about baseball is that if you have a love to play, that you can play at many levels, NAIA, Division I, Division II, or Division III, or junior college. That last statement leads into another myth from the Baseball Recruiting Confidential podcast, episode 115. The myth of, if I'm not playing D1, it's not good baseball. This goes for any college sport. The guys encourage you to go and watch your sport at all levels. You can see the good and the bad by watching live games. You can see the size, the speed, and the strength by watching up close. I got to watch baseball at the NAIA level for the last 4 years. Sutton's Columbia College Cougars won 35-plus games every year and made the NAIA regional tournament 3 of his 4 years. Sutton had teammates that were all-conference, all-American, and some that transferred to NCAA Division I teams. One of his teammates plays for the Texas Tailgaters in the current Banana Ball League. Sutton played against teams that could compete well in the NCAA Division II and lower-level Division I conferences. But he also played against teams that I, at age 59, could possibly still play for. Just kidding. But some teams have a bunch of good players, and some teams have a few and take players that want to play and can pay some tuition. Today you can watch any level of games on TV, streaming, or online. In the discussion on the podcast, they said to go and watch the Division III World Series. You are going to see players that could impact D1 rosters. Myth number 7 of the Recruit Me system states that I have to be the best player on my team to get any athletic financial aid. Recruit Me pushes you to research all levels of play. If you start your research early in your high school years, then you are probably not going to be in an upper-level Division I prospect yet. So start by researching the NAIA, Division III, or Division II levels. Work your way up the ladder, both in research and in development. I encourage you to find the Baseball Recruiting Confidential podcast. Find episode 115 and listen to the whole episode. They continue to talk about parents' roles in recruiting, the recruiting start time, and overall timeline. There is a lot of recruiting information out there online. I have appreciated the Baseball Recruiting Confidential podcast as a good resource for recruiting information and advice. But I would be remiss if I didn't again ask you to check out everything Recruit Me provides for you to help you to learn and to understand the athletic recruiting world. Recruit Me is not a recruiting service, and I don't contact coaches or tell you where you should go to play. But Recruit Me and I do want to help you to learn how to create your own personal plan to recruit colleges to recruit you. Go to the recruit-me.com website, get the free Power Pack, sign up for the free Recruit Me monthly newsletter, and like or subscribe to the Athletic Scholarship Podcast for free, and get all the past episodes. Also, invest $39 and get your own copy of the Recruit Me 3.0 Athletic Scholarship System. Just hit the Get Access button on the recruit-me.com website. Thank you for listening to this week's The Athletic Scholarship Podcast episode, and I'll see you next week.